Hello, hello, hello. It's your life coach, Ladia, coming through to you by way of divine choice. How you guys doing today? I hope all is well. So today we're going to be practical about how we're going to deal with stress. Yesterday I prayed. We prayed, right? Because I wasn't the only one praying. Yesterday we prayed about stress, and today um, we're going to be practical about it. What are some of the things that we can do to deal with stress, stressors of life, and all of these kinds of things? Because it's a real reality, and it's something that we face in this world that we're living in. So I have a few notes because it was like a lot that I was, it's a lot. So, anyways, but for the most part, one of the things in nursing school, when we talk about patients who come to the hospital with all kinds of diseases and issues, and the doctor realizes or finds out that it's mainly because of stress, they tell you to get rid of that thing that's triggering your stress. And for the most part, it's usually someone's job or their kids or their spouse, and you can't really get rid of them. You need your job to keep a roof over your head. You can't just get rid of your husband or your wife, and you definitely can't just get rid of your kids or avoid them. Like, they're your responsibility. So I have a few practical ways that we can deal with stress, and practical and spiritual ways that we can deal with stress, because everything starts in the spiritual realm, in the realm of the things that we cannot see, before it can manifest in the realm of the things we can see. I was listening to something on YouTube at one time, and the guy explained something, and it was so profound or real to me. And he said that 30% of our reality is what we can see, and 70% of our reality is what we cannot see. So that lets us know that the spiritual, the things that we cannot see, is greater, stronger, has much more power and ability in our lives, capabilities in our lives, than what we're faced with, what we actually, tangibly can touch and see and deal with in our lives, or what we're faced with in our lives. And, stress, we can't see it, like the actual stress, but those tangible things that we can see, we can draw from our spiritual abilities to transmute and transform those things, to get rid of those, to make those things to stop being stressful in our lives, if that makes sense. But we'll circle back around it, okay? So for one, dealing with stress or using these principles that I'm going to explain to you, it takes practice, and it's not easy, because one thing for sure is that our life on earth is full of tests and trials. God tests us over and over to see if we're willing to trust Him. Are we willing to, look at our situation, and instead of us trying to fix it in our own ability, can we take it to God and trust God to help us solve the situation? So like what we did yesterday, that's the first thing we're supposed to do when we're faced with stress, is pray and give our situations to God. God sees, God knows everything that we're going through, but God created each and every one of us not just to be here and to be stressed, but to actually go to Him, have a conversation, have a relationship, right? So, there's in our different types of religions, there are different ways that you can go to God, but everywhere, anywhere, hands down, is prayer. Pray. That's how you communicate. You talk to God, and let God know what you're going through. And again, God sees and knows, but let's communicate, let's reason, so that we can come up with a solution to your situation. Because in our finite mind, we can't really seem to figure out or understand how we can get out of the situation, how it can change, how whatever. But God is infinite. There are infinite possibilities. There are infinite ways for a situation to be solved, okay? So when you go and you pray, first thing you do is you pray and you give your situation to God, and you sit in that feeling of what you're wanting, that feeling of my prayer is answered. And a lot of times, a lot of us feel like, oh, our prayer hasn't gone past the roof, or I'm too this and that God can't hear my prayers or whatever. Don't do that to yourself, okay? Trust and believe your Creator heard you, even if you didn't open your mouth to pray. If you're praying in your heart and in your mind, your Creator created you. He can hear you. Second thing is now you're meditating. So for prayer and meditation goes together. Praying, you're taking it to God. Meditating, you're receiving what the answer that He wants to give to you. And it may not be an immediate answer, it might not be right away, whatever, but sit in the feeling of what you actually want to happen. Sit in the feeling of that prayer that you just prayed has been answered. How would that feel for you? And that helps you to transmute, meaning to change that negative thing into a positive. Because as human beings and as spiritual beings, we have to realize that we have capabilities and powers that can change the world. So for one thing is that you can take that situation in your mind. You can do it yourself in your own mind. We have the mental capacity to take a situation that's happened in this reality and transform it in our mind to a positive situation, and it will reflect in the reality that we're living in right now. So, for example, for me, I've been dealing with a lot of stress lately. So I guess that's the reason why, God, I'm like here dealing with, helping other people deal with it or whatever. But, I had so many things happen all at once, back to back or whatever. And with these situations happening where it was like, oh, my landlord was reaching out to me, or I need to do something that, I'm just a renter. So it was stressing me out, because it's just like I'm already paying to live here, and then you're wanting me to pay for other things. It's like too much, and I have too much bills than I have money. And then the next day, all of a sudden, money is stolen out of my account. OMG. Can we slow all of this down? But when all of these things happened, even with the first situation where the landlord is like, oh, you need to do this, that, whatever, because the HOA is saying this, blah, blah, blah. I sat there. At first, I was frustrated, because as a human being, our initial reaction is to get upset, is to get stressed. Let's be real. We're human, right? Because that stuff affects us. It's like, come on, can I get a break? So that's our first thing. Our initial reaction is to get frustrated, get angry, or whatever, even cry, and stuff like that. But then after you've let all of that out, you sit back, take a deep breath. And that's what I did. I sat back, I took a deep breath, and I was like, you know what? No, this is not going to stress me out. No, I'm not going to worry about this. No, they're not reaching out to me. Well, they did, right? In the reality of what I'm living in right now, they did reach out to me. But you know what? However this situation needs to be fixed, it's going to get fixed. And I'm not going to stress about it. And so I let that situation go. I gave it to God. I prayed about it. And I'm like, God, I can't afford to fix whatever they're telling me to fix. I don't have that right now. So I'm not going to stress about it. And I went on about my day. The next day, money was taken out of my account. Already, I'm getting, an email about something I need to pay for. And then next thing you know, money is disappearing from my account. So, of course, again, I went through the whole human reaction. I cried. I bawled, literally, when I called the card company. The lady on the phone was like, well, just try and calm down. Can you drink some water at least? Just try and figure out a way to calm down. I was losing it for a second, because it's just bro, I already can't. Like, I can't be dealing with all of this right now. Like, this is unnecessary. So after I got off the phone, I sat back and I was just like, you know what? No. Mm-mm. Nope. I'm not gonna be stressed. You know why? Because, and I had a conversation with God again. I had to pray again. And like, you know what, God? You created me. You know what's all this that's going on, because I didn't make myself have these situations. These situations happen to me. So however this needs to be fixed, I need you to show me. I need you to remind me. I need you to make it, like, fix it for me. Ultimately, that's what it boils down to, because I can't. Like, what do you want me to do? Like, you're gonna have to fix it for me. And so that's what I sat in. And after I sat there and just really let it go, because that's one of the tools I'm gonna explain to you later about how to deal with these stresses. Once I let it go and gave it to God, I just felt this peace in myself, like, all right. Because when you're so stressed and frustrated, you can't hardly think. Like, good thoughts can't even come through your mind for you to even figure out how to deal with your situation. So it was just like, you know what? All right. And what came into my mind when I calmed down was, this is an opportunity for something new to happen. And I wrote that down. And as the situation kept trying to rise up in my head and remind me of all the stuff that, that's coming at me, I just looked at that, that statement that I wrote down. This is an opportunity for something new to happen. And when it came up again, this is the opportunity for something new to happen. So that's one of the things that when you're dealing with stress and you're trying to overcome it, is that it doesn't just go away like that. Because the situation is still there. Like, the money is still not in my account, and I'm assuming the landlord is still expecting me to fix whatever they want me to pay for. But in my own finite mind, like, I don't have the means to fix it. So guess what? God, you're gonna have to show me how to do it. God, you're gonna have to, make somebody fix it. I don't know. Like, what am I supposed to do, So one of the things is, when you're dealing with stresses, again, like, even with your spouse, if you're, you're like stressed out about your spouse, you can't physically, like, you trying to fix it more than likely will cause more problems than solving the issue. So you go to God. You pray to your creator, because guess what? God created your husband. God created the landlord. God created those people that stole my money. So guess what? God can turn all those things around with a snap of a finger or a word or whatever, however God does what he does. So that's one of the things. So when you're dealing with stresses, again, like I'm saying, you pray first, give it to God, so that you invite God into your situation. And now you know that you're not by yourself dealing with these situations, because a lot of times when you're dealing with a lot, when you're faced with a lot, you feel alone. And that's where the enemy starts to come in and be adding more, like, oh, you ain't gonna be able to, and this and that and that and this. And it just makes the situation even more bigger than it really is. So you invite God into your situation, and you reason with God and allow God to give you peace about it. Like, I got you. We're going to take care of this. Because again, in our finite mind, we can't figure out how the situation is going to be fixed or solved, but there are infinite possibilities and ways of fixing our situations. Okay. So now, like I said, there's infinite ways. After we've prayed, God will, let us know that I got you. We're going to figure it out. Again, the answer does not always come right when you pray that day. You might have to go back to God again. Like, it's stressing me out, whatever, do what you need to do. But do remember who you are and whose you are. You didn't bring yourself into this earth by yourself. Yes, you came through your parents, but somebody created your parents, and somebody created your parents' parents. There was a creator that created each and every human being on this earth, okay? So again, like I said, when we pray, then the situation just seems like it just keeps replaying in our mind. It just keeps trying to get worse. And that's the enemy trying to make a mountain out of a molehill. And the best way for you to deal with that, again, is to pray and meditate. Now, like the statement I made earlier, 30% of our reality is what we can see, where it's the matter, the dense matter, the matter, electrons, protons, neutrons, whatever, matter, like the actual physical things that we can touch and see and feel. That's only 30% of our reality. 70% is what we cannot see. So, you've ever heard that statement, mind over matter? Now, for me, we think about it, for me, I think about it like when you're working out, you feel like, I can't do it anymore. You encourage yourself to keep going. That's very much close to where I'm going with that statement. But what I want you to understand is that your mind, you cannot see your mind, but your mind controls 70% of your reality. And it's over the matter, the situation, your life, your reality that you can see, feel, and touch. So for us in this world, we're so used to the matter that it's hard for us to realize that, or understand, or fathom that the mind is capable of transforming our matter, our situation. And so that's why I'm here today. I'm already 16 minutes into this, and I haven't even gotten to the tools. You guys bear with me, okay? All right. So one of the things I also wanted to say before I get to the tools is, when you're going through this process, because like I said, it's a process and it's not easy and it takes time. It's a practice and it's not easy and it takes time. It is a process. But one of the things, or a few things that you want to remember, is to keep your faith in your creator, that your creator is going to come through for you, because God created you. You're not just here just haphazardly. God created you. Keep your faith, keep believing that the situation is going to change for your good, and keep moving. Keep going on with your life. Because when those situations happened, the old me would have been curled up in my bed crying, and letting my mind just go down this deep rabbit hole. But over time of testing and trials and situations and stresses, I come to realize, give it to God and keep it moving, right? And keep asking, keep seeking, and keep knocking. Keep talking to God about it. Keep having the conversations with God about this situation that's going on, and the answers and what you need to do will be revealed to you, or how you can deal with your situations will be revealed to you. Tools. All right, here we are. All right, so how do we overcome these situations, these matters? How do we use our mind over the matter? Your mind is a powerful tool. So like I said before, you can re-envision the situation differently. So you want to see a different outcome. So for me, of course my money is gone, so I want to see my money back in my account. Whether it's through the card company putting the money back, some miraculous way money comes back, I work and the money comes back, the money is back in my account. That's the outcome I want to see. So you want to play that. You want to play the actual outcome of what you want to see in your mind. Next, you can sing, dance, laugh. Those things, those are the moving. Keep moving. Keep, to block out those negative thoughts that wants to keep trying to make the molehill into a mountain. And then speak, okay? Because when all that stuff was happening, I was like, you know what? No, you're not going to stress me out. Out loud, out of your mouth. You're not going to stress me out. I'm not going to be worried about this. God is going to fix it. And this is the opportunity for something new to happen. Out of your mouth. Because you have the power of life and death in your tongue. You have the power to change your reality. Trust and believe. So you have to, speak those things that are not as though they are. Yeah, that's not going to stress me out. I'm not going to. All right, we're going to keep moving. And again, like I already said, let go. So I've probably already just gave you the tools in majority of this video, but we're just going to keep going. So let it go, because what will be, will be. That's the end of that situation. Give it to God. Let it go, because what will be will be. God has infinite possibilities of how he's going to solve your situation. So however it's supposed to be, it's going to be. And if it's not supposed to be, it's not going to be. And that's just it. What can we do? Like, really, like, why do we be trying to stress ourselves out in this life? Like, come on. Anyways, again, like I said before, your mind controls your matter. So change the thoughts. Change the thoughts. Connect with positivity. Go outside, walk on the grass, hug a tree, take a walk, take a jog, connect with positive people. If you have somebody in your life that's just like really just always happy-go-lucky, always optimistic, connect with that so it can build up some positivity in you so you're not so stressed and feeling down. Watch some YouTube videos or whatever that will uplift you, because when these stresses happen, it's only meant to bring you down and make you dense, like the matter that we're living in on this earth. But you want to keep rising above it. You want to rise up to the mind aspect and not be at the matter aspect, the lower aspect of things. And remember, this one is so good. Remember the last time God came through for you. Now, for most of us, or most people, maybe y'all don't pray like that, but you ever had like a situation happen and it just worked out? That was God. Like, who else gonna do it for you? Your creator came through for you. So when you have these situations, it just seems so impossible. Like, take a second. Like I said, I've had like these situations happen before, over and over, and these are the tests to see if you can trust God. Sit back and just think about the last time that you just felt like you was, so down and out, and it was not going to work, and it was very impossible for anything to work, and then somehow, miraculously, or somehow it worked. Yeah, it can happen again, and it will happen again. But it's meant for you to trust. Like, you have to believe that it's going to happen again. Mind over matter. Moving on. Yeah, again, talk to somebody if you need to. For me, a lot of times when I'm going through stress, I'm dealing with stuff, I don't really want to talk to anyone. I only want to talk to God, because we're finite as human beings. We're very finite. Now, if you have a lot going on, please seek help, like therapy, life coaches, counselors. Go see your pastor if you feel like it. Go just seek some kind of help, because all of us are here to help. So there are people that are here based on God's purpose to help the rest of the world. So if there's somebody that you just feel like, at peace with, somebody that you feel that you can go to and just let it all out, and that they're going to give you like actual non-judgmental and really helpful advice to help you move through your situation, then seek that help. Okay? Don't just sit there and be curled up in your bed in a fetal position and crying and stressing out, because that's not it. That's just not it. Okay? All right. With all that being said, I want us to remember that God has continuously tried to remind us that we have the power. We as human beings, as spiritual beings first, right? Because we're spirit first. We have a soul and we live in a body. Okay? So this body operates with the matter. The body is made of matter. The spirit and the soul we cannot see, we cannot touch, but we know it's here because it allows us to operate. God continues to remind us that the power that is in the things that we cannot see is much more than the power of the things that we can see. That things that we can't see does not have as much power, does not hold as much power as the things that we cannot see. So I want to read to you some scriptures that I was led to today as I was, in my meditation and praying and talking to God about this situation, this matter. And so the verse for our mind, it comes from Hebrews chapter 11, verse 1. And it says, "Now faith brings our hopes into reality." Remember your thought, your belief. brings our hopes into reality and becomes the foundation needed to acquire these things that we long for. So if you have faith, if you transmute that situation from a negative to a positive, and you believe that it can turn into a positive situation, it will turn into a positive situation for you. And the verse continues, it is all the evidence required to prove what is still unseen. So in your mind, you see the situation that you're faced with right now, but in your mind, you don't physically see it, but you see it in your mind's eye that this situation is going to work out for me. Believe in it, have faith in it, feeling it, sitting in the feeling of that thing actually happening for you is what is going to produce the reality for you. Now, as far as matters concerned, our situation around us, our practical situations that we're, practical ways of dealing with our situations right now, it comes from the Quran, the Holy Quran, 65 verse 2 and 3, and it says, and whoever fears Allah, He will make for him a way out and will provide for him from where he does not expect. And whoever relies upon Allah, then He is sufficient for him. So what am I trying to tell y'all? God will do it for you. Allah, God, Jehovah, Yahweh, Adonai, however, your creator, the Almighty, the only one that should be worshipped, will come through for you when you're trusting, believing, and having faith and knowing that He will come through for you. Another verse that I got from the Quran, the Holy Quran, chapter 94, verse 5 and 6. So verily, with every difficulty, there is relief. Verily, with every difficulty, there is relief. Okay? Enough said. Mic drop. God got you. Trust and believe God got you. There is nothing too hard. There is nothing that we're facing that God is not going to help us through and come through for us. As long as you trust and believe that God, you know what? I know you're going to come through for me. I know you are. I know you're going to come through for me. In the church, growing up in the church, he said he doesn't always come when you call, but He's always on time. Why? God created everything. God lives outside of time. So you might be feeling like, oh, how am I going to deal with this? Oh my God, it's getting to the last hour. And you feel like the situation is not going to be fixed or God's not going to come through for you. Trust to the last millisecond that God will come through for you, because nothing in our matter is able to supersede our mind. Okay? So I hope this was helpful. I hope it made sense to you. And if it didn't, definitely ask questions in the comment section, because I just try my best to deliver it how it makes sense to me. But there's infinite ways of things to make sense. So if it doesn't make sense, then we can reason and talk about it, or just pray and ask God to make sense of it for you. I'm just a vessel. I'm just here to put out what God wants me to say. But yes, leave your comments in the comment section. Email me, ladyofreeman@thedivinechoice.org. And definitely just reach out for help if you need it. I'm here. I've said it a million times. I'm here to help. Like, God is here. Reach out to God and let Him lead you where you need to go. Let's do that. Okay? So continue to live your life with love and light. Take care.